friends, go to your face tells who you are. But learn to be very, very selective of friends who always compliment you. It's a worry, you know.
Just be yourself, be real, don't be fake, no matter what other people think.
Precisely.
I have a question, Richard.
Yeah.
Pioli has been supporting on the anti-racism, the 18C, and it's really good that there is a law on anti-discrimination and also Islamophobia. That is two of the issues in Australia. Do you have a conflict resolution, peace resolution on that?
Well, I'll just say this. I think when we talk Islamophobia, we have to put that in the content that it belongs in, because it's tend to be generalized, and if you hate somebody as a radical Islam and they want to categorize you, they say you have Islamophobia. Where if you dislike them in general because they're Muslim, as the race of Islam, then I guess with that, then we have an issue. But I listen to people, and I'll put Sam Dastiari out there, who wants to promote the halal snack pack, promote this, and say these people are Islamophobic. But in fact, they're not Islamophobic. They're actually against the radical Islamic parts and the minorities in that group. So I guess if we're talking conflict resolution, I think the law, the 4B or whatever it's called, needs a lot of clarity put in it. And unlike most of my colleagues, they would support those type of things because, and they would say that I'm an old fat white guy, but in fact, I experience the same races they do amongst older Australians. So I would say to people that if you're looking at anti-discrimination, you really need to look with the right color lenses and understand when people make commentary, the context that commentary is in, and not try to use it in a broad context often.
Now, if yes?
Yeah, I think the problem is when people generalize. You know, like, I have nieces and nephews who converted to Islam because they're working in the Middle East. Doesn't mean I stop loving them.
No, that's right.
It means I respect them, but what you are entitled to be critical of is when people do it to the extremes. Like when they say, well, I can kill you because I'm a Muslim and I believe I'll go to heaven if I kill you. That sort of behavior is what we are against.
That's right.
But the fact that they believe in a different being, we all believe in a God, that's their choice. And as long as they don't harm others, and they don't kind of impose their beliefs on others, there's respect, there should not be an issue. But it's when there's no respect and they think that, oh, you're going to die, you're going to go to hell because you don't believe what I believe, I think that's when it's wrong.
I agree 100%. And unfortunately, we're getting more and more of those radical Islamics starting to collaborate and congregate in larger groups and different mosques and stuff here in Australia. And it's starting to become very cancerous. And not just here, but you go to the Philippines, the same thing is happening now. They're coming over from Indonesia, blah, blah, blah. You know, and I think that when you read the Quran, there's a lot of good in the Quran. It refers back to the Bible. But there's also those parts of the Quran that is quite challenging to interpret and can be interpreted a lot of different ways. And unfortunately, those doing the interpreting of the Quran a lot of times do it for evil, not good. So it's quite of a challenge, I mean, in the world. And we can look at the Philippines. What happened in Marawi? You know, you had Christians and Muslims coexisting in Marawi for some time. quite peacefully. Yeah, there's a mosque there. They go there. They go to the church. That town even invited the congregation of the Catholic, whatever it was in, to hold their seminars there. And then the radicals come in, and what happens? You know, and at the end of the day, it begins that hatred amongst people. And it begins that having to cluster people together, because how do you separate them? And it drives that Islamophobia. But I don't think Islamophobia is like people are saying it is in Australia. I don't think Islamophobia is anywhere in the world like it's saying.
One last question that I'd like to ask for Australia. If someone from other country like Tanzania or Ethiopia or someone wants to ask us, any of us, Australians, is there racism in Australia? How would you handle it? How would you answer it?
I would say yes. I migrated here in 2003. And in 2006, I was on a large board of a well-known club in Australia. I was referred to as a Yank, an American bastard, and I witnessed Filipinos being referred to as cockroaches who run out after a Manny Pacquiao fight, so they didn't want their business during the Manny Pacquiao fights. And that type of commentary coming from a large return service league club shows you. And I mean, I have nothing against Aboriginals. As a person who come here, and you look and you learn the commentary that happens against them. You learn, you go down to other places. Oh, all the Asians, they tend to stereotype. In Blacktown for a long time, it was those of black skin color, maybe not even from Africa. You know, so I think Australia is probably one of the biggest racist countries I ever seen, because it's so well hidden. At least in the United States, if you're black and you go to certain areas, they're going to be up front with you, and you know it quite quickly, and you get out and you leave. Or if you're white and go to certain areas, or you're Hispanic, you know it. Here, it's so covert and so subtle that they're almost experts at it, even in the workplaces.
So if you were the ambassador of goodwill for other countries representing Australia, how would you explain that? What is the best answer so it sounds peaceful?
I would say that we truly need to become a multicultural society and not one of a tossed salad where your lettuce is quite clearly lettuce, your tomato is quite clearly tomato. I mean, we tend to congregate and not intermingle very well with different cultures. I can go down to the American Club down in Martin Place, be all Americans. I can go to Rudy Hill and be Filipinos. Go to Cabramatta, it's Vietnamese. Go to Marconi Club, it's Italian. You know? Not many clubs or not many places have that true multiculturalism. They say we're a multicultural society. So I would promote multiculturalism in its true sense.